We'll start.
Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we have started a series on yoga. So as I explained yesterday, there are 4 different yoga systems described in the Bhagavad Gita: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Today let us try to understand what is Karma Yoga. The first of the 4 yoga systems described in the Bhagavad Gita is Karma Yoga. Karma means action, and yoga means the way to establish our relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. So how is it possible by action to establish our relationship with Krishna? That is what we are going to discuss in this particular section about Karma Yoga. First point we have to really understand is that ordinarily whatever work we do or activity we perform in this world, there is always some reaction to such work. Action has got reaction, and the result of such reaction is that this reaction forces us to do further action, which leads to further reaction, and in this way we create a big heap of actions and reactions. Now the reactions are to be either experienced as enjoyment or suffering. If I do some activity which is in accordance with the scriptural directions, pious activity, punya karma, then the reaction for the punya karma is enjoyment, material enjoyment. And if I do papa karma or sinful activity or activity which is not sanctioned in the scriptures, any activity which is against the scriptural injunctions, such activities are called papa karma, and the result or the reaction to papa karma is suffering. So we have so many accumulated actions and reactions, birth after birth. As we discussed in that know about the soul, we are spirit soul. So the soul is transmigrating, changing bodies from one body to another, life after life. So every life we are performing so many activities and we are also getting reactions. Now, while going through different bodies. As I have explained earlier, there are 84 lakh different species of life. So, while going through different bodies, the reactions, actions and reactions keep on getting accumulated. Because, especially in the lower life forms, below human, there is no possibility of understanding what is action or what is reaction. So the animals, the birds, all lower creatures, they are forced to undergo the reactions, and simply according to the instinct born out of the body which they are inhabiting, they simply do some activity either for eating or sleeping or mating or defending. Only 4 kinds of activities. As soon as somebody gets the human form, then there is the developed intelligence to inquire as to why am I suffering even though I do not want suffering. I don't work for getting some suffering, but suffering is forced upon me. So what is the cause of this suffering? Why is it forced upon me? This intelligent question is possible to be raised only in the human form of life. So, in order to somehow avoid suffering due to some miseries, we are busy counteracting different miseries or trying to increase or get some enjoyment, material enjoyment, in our ordinary course of different activities that we perform. But scriptures are educating us to help us understand that ultimately whatever activities we perform, whether it is pious activities or sinful activities, there is always reaction. Reaction means repetition of birth and death, and between birth and death there is always the fundamental miseries of disease, old age, and different kinds of other sufferings which are forced upon us. The sufferings due to our own body and mind, sufferings due to natural calamities, sufferings due to other living beings. So, we should understand what is this action and reaction. Some people think that if we can stop all types of work, then we can become free from reactions and consequently we don't have to suffer. But it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter on Karma Yoga, the 3rd chapter, that it is the nature of every person, every living being, that nobody can be inactive even for one moment. It is not possible to completely stop all activities. Now we should also understand, according to the Bhagavad Gita, according to our Vedic literature, there are 3 different ways in which we perform action. We perform action through our mind, we perform action through words, we perform action through our body. Manasa, Vacha, Kaya. So, even if somebody is sitting idle and lazily just whiling away time, because their mind is active, they are not actually inactive. Even those who are sitting idle are active in the mind. Therefore, simply by stopping work, we cannot avoid reactions. Then one more point that is told, at least for the sake of maintaining our body, we have to do some work. That's the way the creation is made. So, at least for the sake of maintaining ourselves, getting some food, we have to do some work. And Shankaracharya says, Sripad Shankaracharya, the great Acharya, he says that Udara nimittam bahukruta vesham, simply for the sake of maintaining the body, for filling the belly, Udara nimittam, people adopt so many different ways and means of getting some money or getting some food. So, simply because somebody changes dress from ordinary dress to the dress of a sannyasi or a saffron dress, doesn't mean that one becomes free from all obligations to work. That's why sometimes sannyasis are misunderstood to be parasites in society, because if they simply go around begging for some food or somehow get some money for maintaining themselves without doing any work, then that is misrepresentation of spiritual life. That is misrepresentation of the renounced order of the sannyas ashram. Sannyas is not meant for just somehow get some food because people are inclined to give some charity. No, sannyas is something else. Sannyas is something different. Spiritual life is something different. It is not a means for somehow getting some food without working. No. Sannyas or spiritual life itself, it actually means not simply working for getting some money or getting some food, but understanding the responsibility in the human form of life to work for self-realization. And by working for self-realization, automatically one's bodily necessities are provided for by the Supreme Lord, who is the maintainer of everyone and who provides for everyone regardless of their status or position. Just like the scriptures say, there are so many animals, birds, insects, worms, millions and billions and trillions. In fact, their population outnumbers human population by the billions. Just like you dig a 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot hole in the earth, you will find so many creatures, so many worms, so many insects, so many microbes, billions and trillions of them. So, who is maintaining all these creatures? It is the Creator, the Supreme Lord, Krishna. He maintains everyone. It is not that they are organized for working, getting money, getting food. No. They are being provided for. In the African jungle, there are so many creatures. There are big elephants. They require tons of food every day. And then there are very tiny insects like ants, which require very little, just 1 grain of sugar may be enough for an ant. So, Krishna is providing for everyone, even though those creatures, they don't have any means of earning money or getting some food or growing any edibles, nothing. But Krishna is providing. So, if human beings are properly engaged in working for self-realization, then Krishna provides for such serious spiritualists. Krishna provides. In fact, Krishna provides for everyone. But if we increase our demands artificially by creating unnecessary demands, just like the modern civilization is full of anarthas. Anartha means that which is unnecessary. Human being is meant for simple living, high thinking. Simple living means we should just have the bare necessities of life. We should not have, we should not aspire or desire millions and billions of different unnecessary things. Especially the modern civilization, people are misdirected. It's like they've created so many artificial necessities out of so-called advancement of civilization. What are they doing in the name of advancement of civilization? They are actually creating artificial needs. Just like they keep on inventing newer and newer machines simply for some sense enjoyment. Now, sense enjoyment, according to the scriptures, is available in any form of life. It is not only human beings who are having some elaborate arrangement for sense enjoyment that they can be proud of. No. Even the creatures which are very, 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 very primitive creatures, even they are enjoying, because all creatures have their senses, and these senses coming in contact with sense objects gives them an experience. Sometimes, of course, it is not favorable, such sense contact, then it is either painful or it is suffering. But when the contact is favorable, it is enjoyment. It is sense enjoyment. So, eating, enjoyment from eating is there in every form of life. It is not that only human beings are enjoying eating some nice edibles. No. Every living being, whatever eats food, that is being supplied by Krishna, and when that particular living being eats that particular type of food, that is its designated food, it enjoys eating. Similarly, getting some satisfaction or pleasure from sleeping, taking some rest for the body, giving some rest. Now, whether it is a lower creature or an animal or a human being, whoever has to give some rest to the body, go to sleep, their pleasure they get is always there, whether somebody is some lower creature or a human being. So these pleasures from eating, sleeping, mating, defending is never due to advancement in human civilization. This is a mistaken idea. This is a completely mistaken idea. As a result of this, what has happened in human society? We are missing the real purpose of human form of life. Instead of working for self-realization, which is the unique opportunity available in this human form, which will make our life meaningful, which will put an end to all our problems. Self-realization puts an end to all our problems. Instead of that, we are busy with so many gadgets and so many different machines and so many different arrangements, simply for getting some very, very insignificant sense enjoyment. The Bhagavatam describes this sense enjoyment business is very, very insignificant. So instead of simply working for sense enjoyment, one should do whatever minimum necessary for securing the bare minimum necessities and save time for self-realization. So how does it happen, this saving time for self-realization? So that solution is given by Lord Krishna in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna first of all explains that nobody can remain inactive, and then if you must do some work, then the problem exists that when you do some work, that results in reaction and that binds you to this material world. So you must do work, Krishna says, as sacrifice to Vishnu. Yajnarthat karmanaha lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If you do work as sacrifice to Vishnu, then there is no bondage, there is no reaction. Otherwise, ordinarily people do some work, then such work, whether pious activity or sinful activity, there is always reaction. So, to become free from reactions, to stop accumulating more and more reactions, one should do work as sacrifice to Vishnu. What is the meaning of doing work as sacrifice to Vishnu? That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, that we should work for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord Vishnu or Krishna. That means the result of our activities are actually meant for pleasing Vishnu, not for our sense enjoyment. Instead of trying to enjoy the results for our own self, we should utilize the result of our activities for pleasing Krishna's senses, for pleasing Krishna. Then what happens? If you utilize the results of your work for pleasing Krishna, then you are free from material bondage. You're completely freed from material bondage. Now, somebody may say, if I utilize the result or the fruits or the money I earn for pleasing Krishna, for serving Krishna, then what about my own maintenance? That is not denied. Primarily, we have to understand, to survive, we require some food. So, in exchange for whatever we earn, some portion we have to spend for getting some food, and we have to primarily cook for feeding our body. So, if we don't eat, then we cannot keep a healthy body, and if we don't keep a healthy body, we cannot earn our livelihood. So, we have to work, we have to earn, and we have to spend that portion of the money at least for getting some food grains, and that food grains we have to cook and we have to eat. Now, Krishna says, because this is very, very fundamental for every human being, that we have to cook some food grains and eat. Therefore, Krishna says, such food which we prepare by cooking, we have to make an offering to Krishna and partake the remnants of food which is offered to Krishna. Yajnashishta ashinaha santaha muchyante sarva kilbishaihi. See the advantage of eating food which is offered to Krishna. The advantage is, such food, of course, it will nourish our body. It will also cleanse our mind, and it will cleanse our heart, our consciousness. Muchyante sarva kilvishayi. All the contamination from the past activities I have performed I can cleanse them away by partaking food as prasadam, Krishna prasadam, food offered to Krishna in sacrifice before eating. Otherwise, if somebody simply cooks and eats without doing any offering to Krishna, bhunjate te tu agam papa, ye pachanti atmakaranat. If somebody simply eats food without offering to Krishna, then they are eating sin. How much sin? Agam papa. Agam means huge quantities of sin. Due to ignorance, people are anyway accumulating so many reactions. As if those reactions were not enough, foolishly people simply by eating food which is not offered to Krishna, they are also accumulating more and more sinful reactions. On the other hand, if you eat food which is offered to Krishna in sacrifice, then you become not only that such food is free from reactions, but such food also purifies you of your past reactions which you might have done in ignorance without knowing. Unknowingly you have done some activities. So therefore Krishna recommends in the Bhagavad Gita, you have to do work as sacrifice, and the most important sacrifice is the sacrifice of the food you cook to Krishna. Thereby you are able to eat prasadam which will purify you. Now, what kind of work should a person do for earning the livelihood? What kind of activity a person should do? If that is the question that is raised, can I do anything? Somehow get money? No, because there are so many activities which are forbidden in the scriptures and even in the state law. For example, for the sake of maintaining myself, I cannot do any criminal activity. I cannot steal. I cannot do something which will harm others, which will hurt others. I cannot cheat others and make money. So, even in state law and as well as the laws of God, karma, laws of karma, the scriptural directions, we have to perform only specified activities, lawful activities. We cannot perform any sinful activities. We cannot perform illegal activities. So, now which of the pious activities or activities which are legal, which kind of activity can I do? Now, the scriptures say there is something called prescribed duty for every human being. For animals, there is no prescribed duty, but for human beings, there is prescribed duty mentioned in the scriptures. For understanding prescribed duty, we have to understand what is called as the varnashrama dharma. According to varnashrama dharma, the whole human society is divided into 4 social classes and 4 spiritual classes. Divisions. These 4 social classes are based on different occupations and the inclination to perform certain type of work according to the acquired nature. This we have discussed earlier by discussing about sacrifice, but I'll just repeat this, that the 4 social orders, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, the intellectual class, the martial class, the productive class, and the labor class. According to their nature, acquired nature, they are inclined to perform a particular type of activity. So, according to their nature, they should do the particular type of work which is suited for the nature, and in that way they should maintain themselves. Now, in accordance with the particular occupational duty one does as an intellectual or a Kshatriya, martial class, or a productive merchant, or a Vaishya, and labor class or Shudra, there are different spiritual orders, spiritual classifications. So these spiritual classifications are also 4: student life, householder life, retired life, and renounced life. Now, all the 4 are not for everyone, no. For the Brahmanas, intellectual class, there are the 4 spiritual orders, 4 stages of spiritual life: the student life, the householder life, the retired life, and the renounced life. For the Kshatriyas, there are only 3 spiritual orders that is recommended: the student life, the householder life, and the retired life. There is no renounced order of life for the Kshatriyas. For the Vaishyas, there are only 2 orders of spiritual life. Only 2 spiritual orders: the student life and the householder life. And for the labor class, for the Shudras, there is only 1 ashrama or 1 spiritual order, that is the householder life. That's primarily because the labor class cannot be trained in a Gurukul under a spiritual master because they don't have sufficient intelligence to be trained as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya, or Shudra. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. So student life is only for the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. Householder life is for everyone, because in the civilized society there should be proper family setup. Then only there can be proper development or proper growth possible for ultimately aiming for achieving the ultimate goal of this human form of life. A family unit is very, very essential, because human beings have this ultimate goal of self-realization. So the scriptures explain, for this reason there has to be a proper setup, family setup. So householder life is essential for everyone, because all the human beings are meant for self-realization. The retired life is only for the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, and that is the Vanaprastha stage. That is, Vanaprastha stage is actually retired from active householder life in order to detach oneself from material entanglement in this family life. And that's possible only for those who are intellectuals and martial class people. Whereas renounced order of life, or sannyas, is only meant for the Brahmanas or the intellectual class, because only they can actually practice that. So I will pause here. Tomorrow we'll continue the discussion on Karma Yoga. I'll take some questions. These are questions from yesterday. What is the importance of physical health in Krishna consciousness? As it is said, a fit body is a place for a good mind or soul. Yes, even a spiritualist or anybody practicing Krishna consciousness has to maintain good health. But to maintain good health, it is not absolutely necessary to engage in some so many different activities which people generally do in the name of keeping fit. Any human being, simply by eating simple food and keeping regular habits, can maintain their health very easily. And this was the case in the Vedic times. People would simply eat food which they can properly digest, which is recommended food for civilized human beings. And in that way, and always they were never lazy. Everybody was engaged. In fact, the king or the government has got the responsibility of ensuring that every human being is properly engaged in some proper work, proper occupational duty they are doing. Brahmanas are performing their Brahmanical duties, Kshatriyas are doing Kshatriya duties, Vaishyas are doing Vaishya duties, Shudras are doing Shudra duties. Everybody has to be engaged. So therefore, there is no question of anybody being without proper engagement, without work. No, nobody can be without work. So that way they used to very easily maintain their health. And one more point is that they didn't have machines which would make them lazy. Now modern civilization, they're very proud, we got so many machines, but these machines have also made people very lazy, because of which there are so many diseases or so many ailments simply because they are not having physical activity. But that was not the case in the Vedic times. They were always active in so many ways, and they would easily maintain their health. So yes, it is required to maintain proper health for practicing spiritual life, but that can easily be done by being physically active, not becoming lazy, doing our prescribed duties, and also eating simple food and taking proper rest. All balanced: eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. Krishna says this in the Bhagavad Gita also. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. 6th chapter, 17th verse. Krishna says, by regulated eating, sleeping, working, and recreation, anybody can maintain their body. Anybody can have good health. Next question. When Krishna appears once in the day of Brahma, does he appear only on earth or other planets in the universe? Krishna appears in the tract of land called Mathura Mandala, Braja Mandala, and that is the speciality of the earth planet. The earth planet is special because of this Braja Mandal or Mathura Mandal. This is a very, very sacred place, the place of appearance of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So that's why Earth is very, very special planet as compared to all other planets. Even though Earth is not the topmost planet, Brahmaloka is the topmost planet, the planet of Brahma. But the Earth is special because Krishna appears in this Braja Mandala, which is there on the earth. But it is not that all incarnations of the Supreme Lord appear only on the earth. No. Like Vamana appeared in the heavenly planets. Lord Narasimhadeva appeared in the heavenly planet because Hiranyakashipu was ruling from Indra's palace, Indra's heavenly planet. So he had overtaken Indra's position, and so Narasimhadeva appeared in the heavenly planet. So the Supreme Lord appears in different places, in different species also, apparently. Of course, the Supreme Lord does not assume any material body, but he appears in the form of a fish, he appears in the form of a tortoise, he appears in the form of a hog or a boar, he appears in so many different forms. So, a Supreme Lord appears in different planets. It is according to his, according to the need and according to his own free will. He is not forced. It is out of his compassion for the suffering living beings to deliver them he comes. Next question. What samskara should a devotee undertake if a girl child gets matured in the house? Regarding samskara, scriptures say there are dashavidha samskara, and then there are shodashavidha samskara, and then there are 32 different dvatrimshat samskaras. Like that, the scriptures are prescribing so many different purificatory processes for a civilized human being. But in our present age, and especially in Kali Yuga, it is said, the samskaras are not easy to perform because of several reasons. One of the most important reasons is we don't have qualified brahmanas to guide us in performing these samskaras. Therefore, all these samskaras are basically replaced with Krishna consciousness. Bhakti yoga, practice of bhakti yoga. If somebody practices bhakti yoga, then there is no need of performing any of the other prescribed samskaras. The purification that happens by performing samskaras as prescribed in the scriptures is definitely possible simply by practicing bhakti yoga, especially by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Anyone can get purified at any stage, in any condition, without any need for performing those samskaras according to scriptural directions, without any need for any rituals, which are not easy to perform in this age. I'll stop here. Hare Krishna.